So welcome everybody to this latest video on 162 Math. In this video we're going over the practice paper of 2023 Foundation Set 1 Paper 2, which is a calculator paper. Now as always I'll include a question breakdown in the description below so you can see which question refers to which topic. In case you find a question difficult you can then see what topic it refers to and spend some time reviewing and revising that topic. So let's get started on this Foundation practice paper of 2023 Set 1 Paper 2, which is a calculator paper. So looking at question 1, it says work out the number of grams in 1.5 kilograms. So what we need to remember is that there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. So we just need to do 1.5, multiply that by 1,000, and we get an answer of 1,500. Question 2 then says write down the value of 10 divided by 5. Again, you can just simply put that into your calculator and you should get the answer of 2. Then for question 3, it says solve 3x equals 12. Well, we need to divide by 3. So then here we've got x equals 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Then for question 4, it says work out the number that is 10 times 7 over 100. Give your answer as a decimal. So you want to do 7 over 100, multiply that by 10, in which you should have the correct answer of 0.7. For question 5, it says write down all the factors of 12. So you're writing down all the numbers that can divide from 12 without leaving a remainder, in which the numbers are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. And again, how you remember that is basically 1 times 12, 2 times 6 and 3 times 4, and you've got your 6 factors. So it's just a case of listing those numbers, preferably in numerical order, but it wouldn't matter if you wrote them in a different order. Moving on to question 6, it says the line graph shows the number of goals scored by a hockey team, and the question 6a is asking for the mode of the number of goals scored. So we're looking for the tallest bar, so that's going to be number 4. It then says how many matches did the hockey teams play all together. So what we need to do is we then need to add up each of these. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 4, 6, 1 and 1. If we add up all those numbers, so for B we've got 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 1 plus 1. So here we've got 9 plus 10 plus 2, which gives us an answer of 21. Then for C, it then says in one of the matches the team won by 6 goals. What was the score in that match? So if they won by 6 goals, well, the only way you can win by 6 goals is if you win 6-0 or 7-1. So as there were no goals, well, no, they didn't score 6 in any games, so the score must have been 7-1. So question 7 then says that a hotel charges £48 per night for a room, £6.50 for a breakfast and £14 for evening meal. Liz stays at the hotel for 4 nights. She has 3 breakfasts and 1 meal. How much does he pay altogether? So we've got 4 times £48. We've got 3 breakfasts, so that's going to be 3 times £6.50. And we've got 1 evening meal, so that's going to be 1 times 14. So if we just work each of those 3 amounts out on our calculator, so 4 times 48 gives us an answer of £192. 3 times 6.5 is £19.50, and 1 times 14 is £14. Then if we add all of those amounts up, we should have an answer of £225.50. So moving on to question 8, it says use the height of the man to estimate the height of the pylon. And so what we need to do here is we need to draw as straight of a line as possible, like so. And let me just extend that line a little bit more so it's actually hitting the guy on the head. And what we want to see is how many, if we just replicate that, so we've got, oh, I don't know why that's disappeared, so let me just bring that one back. And from this, what we then want to do is just see how many we're going to do. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I reckon 10 men. So we've got 10 times 1.7. So we're looking at an answer around about 17 metres. Now on the mark scheme they would accept any answers between 17 and 21. Moving on to the next question then. So then moving on to question 9, it says the cube has a length of 0.7 metres and the question is asking us to work out the volume of the cube. So for this what we need to do is just make sure we know the units of the volume which we're wanting, which is metre cubed. So we've got to make sure that all the lengths are in metres, which they are. So the next thing for me then to do is just simply multiply all of those three lengths together and type that into our calculator and we get an answer of 0.343. For question 10 it says three whole numbers have a total of 50. The first number is a multiple of 15 and the second number is 9 times the third number. Work out the three numbers. So here we've got three numbers. So looking at this, the first number has got to be a multiple of 15. So it can either be 15, it can either be 30. Oh, don't know why I've done that there. It can be 30 or it can be 45. Now if it's 15, then these two numbers here need to add up to 35. Now with this number being 9 times the third number, what we need to do is basically look at a number of parts. So we're looking for a multiple of 20. Now this number is not a multiple of 20, so that means 15 can't be the correct number. Or if I go for 30, then that means that these two numbers need to add up to 20 and 20 is divisible by 4. So then looking at 9 times, I'm looking at 1 and so 9 and we're looking at 11. So that doesn't quite work because the second number is not 9 times as big. But if I have 18 and 2, well 18 and 2 does work because 2 times 9 is 18. So then the two numbers are going to be 18 and 2. So the three numbers are going to be 30, it's going to be 18 and it's going to be 2. And it needs to be in that order. Moving on to question 11, it says that a game is played with a first spinner. The player spins the spinner twice. The score is the difference between the two numbers. And the question is asking us to complete the table show. So what we've got to do is just take away one number from the other. And again, we're looking for the difference. So we're not going to include any negatives. So that's going to be 0, 1, and that's going to be 3. And then we're looking at 1, 0, 1, and 2. Then 2, 1, 0, and 1. And 3, 2, 1, 0. Then moving on to question 11b, it says that the player loses if the score is 0 and 1 and the player wins if it's 2 and 3. Amy says that the two scores win and 2 scores lose, so there is an even chance of winning is even. Is Amy correct? Well, let's have a look at winning. So what we want to do is see how many options there are, the probability of losing and the probability of winning. Now if it's an even chance, then the probability of losing and winning should be half. So looking at losing, well losing would be a 0 and 1. Let me just double check to make sure that is true. Yep, 0 and 1. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's going to be 10 out of a total of 16. So that's going to be 5 out of 8. Then for winning, well, that's going to be a 2 or a 3. And we can see there that there's only 6 options. So that's going to be 6 out of 16, which is 3 out of 8. So here we can say that there's not an even chance, so Amy is wrong. And you can say no. And the reason for that is the probability of losing is equal to 5 over 8. And the probability of winning is 3 over 8. So, and they're not the same. So not the same. So not even chance. I should say not an even chance of winning. Then moving on to question 12, it says that Ange pay is £390 per week. They work for 37.5 hours and they want to work out their hourly rate. So what we're going to do here is do 390 divided by, now to work out their hourly rates, we divide that by 37.5 and I just simply type that into my calculator. So 390 divided by 37.5 and it gives me an answer of £10.40. Now looking at question 12b, it says that Ange wants to work out their pay in March. They say there are 4 weeks in March, so I multiply 390 by 4 and we get 1560. It says, does this method give the correct answer for their monthly pay? And we've got no, yes, and no, but the pay is going to be less, or no, that the pay is going to be more. So here, what we've established, well, for starters, we're assuming that there's 4 weeks in March. Well, 4 weeks equals 28 days, and there are 31 days in March. So this method is going to be underpaying, so it's actually going to be more. So looking at question 13a, it says complete the table for this table of values. Well, there's a couple of ways in which we can do this. Well, to work out this number here, what I need to do is substitute x equals minus 2. So I do 2 times minus 2 plus 3. To work out this number here, I do 2 times 0 plus 3. To work out this number here, I do 2 times 2 plus 3. And to work out this number here, I type in 2 times 3 plus 3, in which the numbers that you should fill in, if I just pull that in now, so 2 times minus 2 is minus 4, plus 3 is minus 1. This one we're going to have 3. This one is 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 3, which is 7, and 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 3 is 9. Then we just need to plot these coordinates and plot it and draw the line. So we've got minus 3, which is here. Then minus 2, minus 1, which is there. 1 is 1. At 2, it's at 0, sorry, it's 3. At 1, it's 5. At 2, it's 7. And at 3, it's 9. And what we just then need to do is just draw a straight line through those points. Failure to draw a straight line would mean that you would lose a mark. And again, just want to make sure that it goes to one end of the graph to the other. The next question then says solve x equals 2x plus 3. So for this question, what we want to do is basically plot y equals x and y equals 2x plus 3. So we're looking for plotting each of those. So if I plot y equals x, then what I end up with is, if I just find minus 2, 2, I might change that colour to a blue, and so let me just put this at 2 minus 2, and then I'm looking for 2, 2, which is there, and then I just need to extend this line. Oh, and that's slightly above, so let me just go down a little bit. And so the solution for this is going to be minus 3, because that's where, if I look at where those two lines meet, and as soon as they do, I go up, so the answer then is going to be minus 3. For question 14, it says in March, Kim pays the same amount for each song she downloads. She pays £59.40 for 60 songs. In April, she pays 5 pence more for each song. She has a 20% voucher, £20 voucher rather. What is the maximum number of songs that she can download using this voucher? So let's have a look at, first of all, how much one song costs. So one song costs, and it's going to be £59.40. That is a 9. Let me just change that to make it a little bit more neater. Divided by 60, and if I type that all into my calculator, I get an answer of 99 pence. So then from this we know that it costs 5p more, so the new price of one song is going to be £1.04, and she's got a £20 voucher, so we do £20 divided by 1.04, so 20 divided by 1.04, and I get an answer of 19.23 blah blah blah. So then if I round down, because obviously I can't, she can't buy 19.23 songs, so the answer then is going to be 19. Moving on to question 15, it says, I'm thinking of a 2-digit square number. Its digits add up to a prime number. Write down a square number that I could be thinking of. So looking at square numbers that are bigger than 10 but smaller than 100. So we're looking at 16, we're looking at 25, 36, 49, 64 and 81. So if I add up the scores, we're looking for which ones give us a prime number. So that's going to be 7, that's going to be 7, that's going to be 9, that's going to be 13, that's going to be 10, and that's going to be 9. So the possible options I can go for are going to be 16 and 25. And so we can just write that down, all 49. So we could have 16 or 25 or 49. Question 16, it says increase 5,400 by 27%. So we want to multiply. Now if we're increasing by 27, we do 100% plus 27%, which is 127%, and that as a decimal is 1.27. So 5,400 multiplied by 1.27, and it gives us an answer of 6858. For question 17, it says work out the vector that translates shape S onto T. So we're going from S to T. So if I pick one point, so I'm going to pick that point there, and the corresponding point on T is there. So the first top value of a column vector is the horizontal movement. So I've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going 1 up, so the column vector should be 6, 1. Moving on to question 18, it says toilet roll comes in packs of 4 or 9, and we want to work out which is better value. So looking at the 4 pack, well, that's going to be, well, I want to work out how much one roll costs. So it's going to be 195 divided by 4. And if I type that into my calculator, I get an answer of 48, not 0.48, so that's 48.75 pence per roll. And if I do the 9 pack, that's going to be 4.48 divided by 9. And that gives me a total of 0.4997, and that works out as 49.77 per roll. So which one's better value? In this case, it's going to be the 4 pack. Question 19 says write 300 of product to its prime, so we need to do a factor tree. So if I start with 300, think of two numbers that multiply to give me the top number, and circle any prime numbers. In which we should have this as our final answer, and then write it as a product to their primes. I've missed out a 3, so we could either write it as 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 5, or we could write it using powers, which is 2 squared times 3 times 5 squared. Now alternatively, if you have got a Casio calculator, you could have done it on your calculator by typing in the number, pressing equals, and then press shift, and you're looking for the fact, in which it should give you the correct answer also. Moving on to question 20, it says 60 people took a test. Before the test, they predicted whether they would pass or fail. And we've got 40 people predicted they would pass. 32 of the people who predicted they would pass did pass. And 51 people passed altogether. So let's first of all use this information to complete the frequency diagram or the frequency tree. So let's just first of all try and get all that information and the diagram on screen. So there we go. So it says 40 people predicted they would pass. So this is going to be 40, and so that means that this box here is going to be 20. Let me just write little 1 and 2 in the order in which I'm doing it. It then says 32 people who predicted they would pass did pass. So then 32, so this is going to be 32. And it said 51 people pass altogether. Well, if I then do 51 take away 32, and that gives me an answer of 19. So that means that this number here must be 19. And from this, I can then work out what the missing numbers are going to be. So 40 take away 32 is 8, and 20 take away 19 is 1. Moving on to question 21, it says that a solid cuboid is made from centimetre cubes. The plan view, the front view, and elevation is shown here. How many cubes are used to make the cuboid? So here, if we just do a little sketch of what that should look like, well, there's our front view. Here is our side view, and the top view looks like that. It's probably a poor diagram, but basically we're doing 3 by 2 by 4. So it's going to be 2 times 3 times 4, and that gives me an answer of 24 cubes. Then moving on to question 22, it says the table shows information about journeys A and B. Complete the table. So what we need to recognize here is that our distance, speed, time. So here, to work out this box there, that time equals, and it's going to be distance divided by speed. So it's going to be 14 divided by 56. And so if I do 14 divided by 56, and that equals a quarter, and so that's going to be 0.25 of an hour. So that's a quarter of an hour. And how many minutes are there in a quarter of an hour? Well, that's going to be 15. Then for the distance, well, distance equals speed times time. Now we want to make sure that we're working in miles per hour. So for this, what I need to do is convert 1 hour and 20 minutes into hours. Well, 20 minutes equals a third of an hour. So it's going to be 1 1/3 hours. So then typing that in, we get 39 times 1 1/3. And if I type that into my calculator, I get an answer of 52. So it's going to be 52 miles. Then moving on to question 23, it says here is a column vector and we want to work out 4f minus 3g. Well, 4f is going to be 4 lots of f minus 3 lots of g. So if we work this out, we get 4 times 4, which is 16, 4 times 2, which is 8. I'm taking that away from 3 times 4, which is 12. Just get rid of that little mark there. And 3 times minus 1, which is minus 3. So here then I've got 16 take away 12, which is 4. And 8 minus minus 3 is positive 11. So my final answer then is 411. Moving on to question 24, it says the times that 60 customers waited at a supermarket checkout is shown. Write down the class interval which contains the median. So looking at 60, well, the median is the middle number, so I'm looking for the 30th person or the 30th customer. So then where would the 30th customer be? Well, there's, if we do like a running total cumulative frequency value, we've got 18, then we've got 28. So it's going to fall into this category, which is between 4 and 6 minutes. The question then says the manager of the supermarket says that over 90% of the customers wait less than 8 minutes. Does the data support the statement? So in terms of the number of customers waiting less than 8 minutes, well, that's going to be these numbers added together. So it's going to be 18 plus 10 plus 16 plus 12. And if I type that all into my calculator, I get an answer of 56. So then I need to work out the percentage. So it's 56 over 60 multiplied by 100. And it gives me an answer of 93.3 recurring percent. And so is that over 90%? Well, yes. And again, the working out is then 56 over 60 times 100 equals 93.3%, which is greater than 90%. Now, you could have written that in words and that'd be absolutely fine, but something along those lines would be absolutely fine. Moving on to question 25, it says work out the size of angle X. So this is going to be using trigonometry. So labeling the information we know. So this is theta, that's O, that's H, that's A. So I'm looking for, now there's no information on O, so I can dismiss that. So I'm looking for which trig ratio uses A and H. Well, that's going to be cos. So I've got cos theta equals A over H. The information I know, theta is X, H is 12, and A is 7. So substituting numbers in, I get cos X equals 7 over 12. Then X equals the inverse cos of 7 over 12. And if I type that into my calculator, I get an answer of 54.3, and that's to 1 decimal place. Then for B, it says work out the size of angle length Y. So again, another trig. So this is theta, that's the opposite, that's the adjacent. So this time I need to use tan. So if I just write down the formula, theta is 42, A is 35, and O is X. So substituting that all into the formula, I get tan 42 equals X over 35. We take the 35 over to the other side, so I get 35 times tan 42 equals X. So 35 tan 42 gives me an answer of 31.5, and again that's been rounded to 1 decimal place. Moving on to question 26, we're looking at expanding. So we've got y times y, which is y squared, y times minus 3, which is minus 3y. Then we get 8 times y, which is plus 8y, and plus 8 times minus 3 is minus 24. Then collecting all of those things together, we get a final answer of y squared plus 5y minus 24. Then moving on to question 27, it says that Thomas ran a lucky dip stall. Tickets cost 50 pence. Tickets ending in 88 win £10. Tickets ending in 9 win £2. There are 800 tickets numbered 1 to 800. Thomas sold all the winning tickets and some of the losing tickets, and he made a profit of £155. And the question is asking, how many losing tickets did he sell? So let's have a look first of all at how many winning tickets there are. So the number of winning tickets. So if we have the first one of ending in 88, well, looking at how many tickets end in 88, well, we've got 0, 88, we're going to have 188, 288, 388, 488, 588, 688, 788, and that's it. So then looking at those tickets, how many of those numbers have we written down? Well, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's going to be equals 8. Now the ones ending in a 9, well, this one is going to be 10 in every 100, and we've got 800. So that's going to be ending in 9. So that's going to be 10 times 8, which is 80. So then from these, what we then need to look at is the prize money. Now, if you found a number that ends in 88, you're going to win £10. So that's going to be 8 times 10, which is £80. And if it ends in a 9, you win £2. So we multiply that by 2 and we get £160. So then from this, what we've then got is the total prize money is going to be £240. Now from this, what we then know is that they made £155 profit. So the total money from the raffle raised must have been the prize money, which was all given away, plus £155. So if I add those two numbers up, I get an answer of £395. Now we know that tickets cost 50p, so then the total number of tickets equals, and so it's going to be, well, actually looking at this, the losing amount is going to be from this, so the total number of tickets in terms of the money is going to be 395 divided by 2, and that comes up to a total of 790 tickets. So 790 tickets, and that's how I got 17. And then from this, how many winning tickets are there? So the number of losing tickets is therefore going to be 790 minus the number of winning tickets, which were 88, which gives us a final answer of 702. Then moving on to question 28, it says that the value of a second-hand car is £9,000, and it says each year it loses 20% in value at the start of the year. Work out the value in 4 years' time. Now, there's two ways in which you could do this. You could work out using compound interest, so we do the original amount. Now, 20% decrease, well, if we always start with 100%, taking away 20 would give us 80%. That, as a decimal, is 0.80. And we want to raise that to the time, which is 4. So if I type that all into my calculator, I get 9,000 multiplied by 0.8 to the power of 4, and it comes up to an answer of £3,686 and 40p. So I can just write that down as my final answer. Now, another way of doing it is if I get my calculator out again. And so if I type in the amount, and all I'm going to do is I multiply it by 0.8, so that will be the price in the first year. Then if I multiply that by 0.8, that's the price in the second year, that's the price in the third year, and this is the price in the fourth year, which is exactly the same as what I've written there. Then moving on to our last question, it says that a water tank is a cylinder with a radius of 30 and a depth of 160. It is filled at a rate of 0.1 litres per second. 1 litre equals 1,000 centimetre cubed. Does it take longer than 1 hour to fill the tank? And you must show you working. So the first we need to do is first of all work out the volume of the tank. Now to do that, we use the formula of pi r squared times h. So that's going to be pi times 30 squared times 160. And if I type that all into my calculator, I get an answer of 144,000 pi. I'm going to leave it in terms of pi. Now for this, I then want to convert that into litres. So this is in centimetre cubed. So converted into litres, we divide by 1,000, in which I get an answer of 144 pi. Now we then want to see how many seconds this is going to take. So if I divide that by 0.1 litres per second, so if I divide this number by 0.1, I get an answer of 1440 pi, or as a decimal, it's 4523.893421. Now that is how many seconds. Now what I need to do is now convert this into minutes in hours. So here, if I divide that by 60, it comes up as 75 minutes. And if I divide that by 60 again, it gives me an answer of 1.256 hours. So the question is, does it take longer? Yes, it does. And there is our final answer and the last question on this paper.